Well, here we are, Melanie, another episode of ILCMA Local Gov Stories. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another podcast celebrating the wonderful world of local government and the people that work in it in the state of Illinois. Melanie, it's great to see you again.
Great to see you too, Jim. I can't even believe that we're looking over like around the corner is Thanksgiving.
I
Believe it?
can't believe how quickly this year has. And can you believe we're coming up pretty soon? We're going to be celebrating our 1 year anniversary of ILCMA Local Gov Stories. And what's cool, when we first started it off, we started off promoting the ILCMA Winter Conference. And
Did.
today's episode, we're going to start doing that again. So it's
We are.
on
And
a
and
full year.
just and just for the record, and I did mention this in my interview coming up, but we sold that baby out, or not we, but ILCMA, it was sold out. Like at some point you could not get in any longer. So we're going to do a good job of previewing it so that happens again, because maximum participation means more peers to hang out with and share ideas and best practices and networking and seeing your old friends. So yeah, we're going to talk about that.
The best part of going to the conference, like the sessions are phenomenal. They're always good. I really enjoy the keynotes that they bring in. But
Mhm.
when we have a chance to do the networking with other managers, assistant managers, and just professionals from around the state of Illinois, especially in the social settings, it's always fun because we always start talking. The conversations lead to, "Oh, what are you doing?" or "What are you doing?" And then like you start solving problems or hearing how other people solve problems, and right there is worth the price of admission. So I'm excited. I already put it on my calendar, the 5th through the 7th in February. So
Mhm.
make sure that's the first step, and then make sure you get tickets when they go on sale.
Yeah, and actually they'll be opening registration will be opening up before Thanksgiving, right before Thanksgiving. So put it on your calendar, everybody, and get moving once that registration goes live. Of course, the ILCMA will send an email out when that happens. So what are you doing for Thanksgiving, by the way?
We usually go up. My wife's aunt lives up near the Wisconsin Dells, so we get to go up and see the Dells in the wintertime, which is very less crowded than the summertime. But it's a lot of fun. We always stay at a water park with the girls, my 9 and 11-year-old daughters and their
So
cousins.
fun.
So it's always a fun family time. And then I make it back the Friday after Thanksgiving. That night we have our Christmas parade in Antioch. So it's a big
Oh,
Thanksgiving
fun.
dinner, and then I make it back to Antioch in time for our parade, and then I sleep a lot over the weekend. How about you? What are your plans?
Yeah, this year I've chosen not to host. I always do. My best friend invited myself and my son to join her family, and I'm like, yes, I will bring anything you need to ease the burden of entertaining. I am so glad that I'm not. It has been a very busy season, and I just need a moment to take a breath. So that I'm excited about, actually.
No cleaning or dishes after dinner. That's how happy
Well, I
Thanksgiving
might
to
stick
you.
around. You know how it is. It's easier to help someone clean their dishes than clean your own. So so I'll probably do that. She's my bestie. So anyway, so can't believe the holidays coming. My goodness. Um, so we do have to talk about a couple of things. There are a couple events coming up that we want to preview um, in the next week or two. One is for the Legacy Project. Now you're going to, if for those of you that don't know what exactly the Legacy Project is, Jim's going to tell you what that is really good.
The Legacy Project basically or simply put, is a forum of women for women in government to help each other advance and excel in public service. I got that right off of the Legacy Project website at legacyprojectnow.org. It's a great organization. I've never been to a Legacy Project meeting, but thanks to social media, every time there's a meeting, I read a lot about it. And the women that are involved in this organization, Melanie, are top performing people of every category of business every category of departments within a government organization. And it's really a great organization that does really good events, and they have their half-day seminar coming up on November 21st. More information again, legacyprojectnow.org, or simply go to the ilcma.org website.
Yeah, actually, I believe it is actually Wednesday, November 20th, for Legacy Project, Elevating Women in the Workforce.
That's right.
That's that in-person seminar from 1 to 4 p.m. It's in Rosemont at the Clark Baird Smith offices. So it's sponsored by corporate partner for ILCMA, Clark Beard Smith. It is again an in-person event. It's being presented by Ann Kurtzmeyer. She is a strategist and local government leader as well. So to register, you do need to register for this. It is legacyprojectnow.org, as Jim said. So if you'd like to get involved with that, that's great. Go ahead and do that. And then another thing coming up too, which is nice, a nod for the holidays, it's the regional Friendsgiving lunches at 3 different in physical locations. And there's also a virtual option. So those who would be interested in doing it, it's Thursday, November 21st. The locations are Babcock's Grove House in Lombard, Rosebud in Deerfield, and Chuck's Southern Comforts and Banquets in Darien. For more information, just go to ilcma.org and visit the calendar, and it's right up there for you to be able to register. For those that go to an in-person event, you do want to bring a canned food donation to be donated to those less fortunate. So nice event where you can network with your peers and enjoy a lunch. It is a self-pay for your own lunch, but you can get together with people in your area and talk about what's happening in your town. So
Excellent. Well, Melanie, later on in the podcast, I want to tell you now, I have a chance to have a conversation with Mercy Davidson. She's the town planner for the town of Normal, Illinois, which will be for the ILCMA Winter Conference. She actually has a really cool story about getting involved in local government. She's a lawyer and she's also the planner for Normal. But we'll talk about bicycle-friendly cities and why that's important and how you could get a designation to be a bicycle-friendly city. So we've got that coming up a little bit later on in today's podcast.
wonderful. That is becoming more popular. The more, when I'm traveling around to clients and driving around wherever, I'm seeing more and more bike designated areas for bicyclists, which is kind of nice. There's a lot more movement to get connectivity between places if you're on a bike. So that'll be great to hear just what you have to do in order to get that. And then also that one, I know just by talking with you a little bit about it before we recorded this, that she had intentions of being an attorney and then had an internship, and that turned her to the direction of local government. So the importance of internships, um, just kind of giving people a glimpse inside local government and what an amazing profession it can be for some people. So such a value.
Yeah, if you're looking for a reason to start an internship program in your community, this is another example of it paying off.
Absolutely. So I had the chance, and it's coming up next, so I won't give it all away, but I had the chance to visit with Kimberly Richardson. She is the Winter Conference chair, and she's going to give us the whole lowdown on, let me get the title right, Transformative Leadership Strategies for Achieving Success. So, this upcoming conference is really focused on providing the tools through a number of educational sessions how to strengthen your leadership and transform yourself into an even stronger leader for your community, whatever role you play, and it does talk about inclusion, with everyone in the organization, the sharing of ideas, which we'll talk about more. But Kimberly's great. She's a leader herself. She also got her start as an intern, and look at her now. She's second in charge at City of Peoria. So those internships can do wonders for bringing bright new people into the profession. So without further ado, let's check out the interview with Kimberly and myself. Hello. So today I am so lucky to be with Kimberly Richardson. She is not only the conference chair, she is also the assistant city manager for the city of Peoria. So we're so excited to have you here, Kimberly, today. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, okay, so today we are going to talk with you about the hot topic of the conference. And just so everybody gets it on their calendar, registration is opening soon, right before Thanksgiving, which is just a short while away. And by the way, last year when we started previewing conference at this time, it sold out quick. So you better reserve your spot. So make sure to put that date on your calendar, ilcma.org/conferences, and get that registration. So today we're going to talk a little bit about all the content and exciting learning opportunities that will be happening at Winter Conference February 5th through 7th at the Marriott Normal. And remind us of what is the title of conference this year?
Well, our title of the conference this year is going to be Transformative Leadership, Strategies for Achieving Success. A
That
lot
sounds
of
exciting.
words, but very
Yeah,
powerful
but you know
words.
what? Meaningful words, powerful words, things that make an impact for people that help them become better leaders, right?
I agree, especially with all that we are encountering at our jobs today. We are being leaders in many ways.
Absolutely. So, but before we get into the conference, I do want to help everyone learn a little more about you, Kimberly, because you have been in local government for more than 2 decades at this time. So, I would love for you to share with everybody what brought you into local government? What was the thing that put you in this direction?
Well, thank you for that reminder that I'm 2 decades in. I don't know if I want to acknowledge that, but that is true.
Yeah.
Luckily, my youthfulness and face does not give that away, but the grades do, hence the fresh color. All I had to say is that, initially, I didn't know anything about local government. I came in to undergrad. I'm a double NIU alum, so go Huskies. And
Mhm.
I was going on the law track. I thought I was going to be an attorney, which for some of you all might not seem outside the rim. I like a good debate. However, I was very fortunate. I tell this story all the time. I was taking a 101 a public admin class, and Dawn Peters at the time, who was I think the grad assistant, she worked with the NIU and PA program at that time, came into my class and talked about local government. And that was the first time I was even made aware that there's this professional profession behind the local political aspect. I knew about a mayor, I knew about a councilman and older people, but I didn't know that there was a professional that ran the day-to-day operation. And so more interest into that and learning more about how impactful being in local government from a professional aspect was going to be, and I started down that trajectory, and eons now I'm where I'm at. So
That's amazing. And then you did start with an internship, is that right?
I started with multiple internships. So,
Okay.
but either way, I did end up going to the MPA program at NIU, completed
Mhm.
that, and my first full-time employment was with the Village of Riverside. At the time, Katie Rush was the village manager, and I was working in public works. And I am so profoundly grateful of having that opportunity to work under Katie's leadership and direction. She gave me a lot of insight and support, and that just really set the foundation moving forward in my career.
Absolutely. And, starting with internships too, and I know you moved on and went right into being employed in local government, but those offer such a great glimpse into the world, right? And sometimes, we actually in the next interview that Jim's going to be doing, he spoke with the lady who thought she was going to be an attorney, and she got an internship at local government, and poof, now she's working in local government. So it really does open people's eyes. So what an opportunity. And then to leaders who really take the time to guide you, like you said, Katie did, like huge. I've had those people in my lives too, like my life too, that have just really helped to guide me along. So it's always good to appreciate that. And then now you're doing
Yeah.
it too, correct? You also.
I am too, and I will just say real quickly about my internships. They were eye-opening, and I think one, it gave me some I was very fortunate to figure out what I really wanted, do those internships,
Mhm.
and resiliency. I can't say they were the easiest internships, but I
Mm.
will say that I knew where I wanted to go, and I allowed myself to advocate and push through some of that. And there's going to be individuals out there whose internships are going to be awesome, and they're going to
Mhm.
just do more to just prepare them as they enter into the workplace. And there's going to be some internships that are going to be meh. And those individuals who have meh, it's okay. That you're going to learn from that too. That meh is going to be so beneficial in the long run because of the fact that you're going to know more about what you as an individual when you get into leadership, what you want to have in your workforce. So all those experiences matter.
Yeah. I love that word meh. 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 Love that. All right. Well,
Anyway,
thanks for letting us know about your background. It's really
thank you.
interesting to learn. And there I've talked with a lot of professionals in local government who did start with internships. So that's actually a topic we're going to stay on because there are some that are doing that and some that haven't taken that chance yet. And it might be bringing your next future leader in. So thanks for sharing that. Now let's get into conference. So transformative, love it. So why don't we talk a little bit about some things that lend to that meaning for the conference, that title of the conference, and what value it's going to bring to those who attend.
You know, we are in a transformative era,
Mhm.
and we have to have the courage to be okay with trying some different things and approaches, because that's what our younger generation is looking for in a place as a workforce. And
Mhm.
what the data has shown us is that they want meaningful work. They want to see work that they can attach to their own values and their own beliefs in a way that is supporting their community. They want to bring back into their community. So how do we, as local professionals who have to be accountable to not just the electeds, but to our constituencies, which are many, and our employees who are also part of our community. There may
Mhm.
be it may be the community that's not external, but they're still part of our community. And so how do we address all those facets in our workday and making sure that we're still doing the core basic values of what we are asked to do, and that is run an effective and efficient organization. And
Mhm.
so the transformative part is really about being prepared and being okay with trying things a little bit differently. So we talk about AI, and we're not talking about AI from the standpoint of like, be afraid. We're like, how do we embrace it? How do we bring
Yeah.
it into the workplace and do it in a way that we have control over the data and ensuring that we understand what we need to be thinking about? It's about
Yeah.
looking at tackling toxicity. Toxicity is something that unfortunately has just grown over the course of years, and it's not going to stop. So how do we continue to support our staff who have to engage with that? And also, how do we support ourselves? Because at the end of the day, we are human and we have to think about our health and our mental health, and more importantly, dealing with all the different facets of emotions that come into our workforce.
Yeah.
And then our veterans, like, as much as we talk about our veterans, we support our veterans. How do we bring in our veterans into our workplace? How do we ensure that we make this a desired place for them to want to be able to have a career service in a different way? And not just look at it just from the law enforcement perspective. I know a lot of times when we think about our veterans, it's usually going into police and fire and public safety, but how do we bring them into the admin side of
Yeah.
that space as well? So we have a wonderful array of conversations. Another conversation, I know you're going to ask me some additional questions, but I, I'm so excited. I hope you hear that in my voice, the excitement about the things that we're discussing. And these are tangibles. These are not talking about it from a philosophical perspective. We want everyone to leave every session with some tangible takeaways that they can implement right away, and strategies they can implement right away within their organization.
That's great. And the nice thing, not only do you do that, but also conference also provides an opportunity for collaboration after to kind of talk through the sessions and say, hey, this applies to me. I might be trying this. So the sharing of ideas is also so valuable at conference.
You are so right. And just because of that, you have just hit on the nail. We are having a session just about that. It's collaborative discussion, having an opportunity for individuals to share and discuss at our roundtable. So we even make space for that to occur as well. So
That's
that's
great.
also encompassed in our conference. But don't forget, we don't want to not have a good time. So we incorporate some social opportunities as well.
Yeah, and you'll stay tuned for all that when registration opens. The brochure will come out and you'll learn out all the fun stuff. And there's also three keynotes, which actually I can give their names. Betsy Allen Manning is going to be the opening keynote. She's from Destination Workplace. And Elliot Eisenberg is the lunch keynote, and Scott Lesnick will close things out. And we will actually be, Jim Moran and myself will be interviewing those three individuals over the next 3 episodes leading up to conference. So you'll get to learn more about them then. So
That
is there anything else that you'd like to add, Kimberly, about conference this year?
This conference, I feel as if it's all about the person and how do we bring ourselves into the organization. And really, I enjoy the fact that we have a diverse array of discussion topics. And I don't want to be remiss from leaving out a topic that's really dear and near to my heart. And in that we are still, as an organization, we continue to practice diversity, equity, and inclusion in our offerings of opportunity for programming. And so we in this conference are going to be leaning into that, but we're talking about it from a perspective of looking at it as emotional intelligence, and how do you think emotional intelligence into the workspace and with a DEI lens. And so that's going to be a fun topic because we have some colleagues of ours outside of the state who are doing this work, and we're
Mhm.
going to bring their case study into a conversation how we can look at emotional intelligence as leaders when we talk about the conversation around diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I'm very excited about that conversation, and hopefully everyone else will be as well.
Absolutely. It's really important to focus on, and it's nice that we can go at it from an angle of understanding our own minds first and how we're perceiving things and how what we say or do can actually be perceived by others. So that emotional intelligence piece is key. So that's going to be a wonderful session, I'm sure. Well, let's see. We've covered your, oh, when we say 2 decades, I can say 2 decades too. Does that mean we're getting old, Kimberly?
My mom will allow me to say this. My mom and both my parents have birthdays recently, and if I showed you a picture of my mom, you would not believe how old she really is. And so I'm very fortunate to have great genes, but
Yeah.
also this job keeps me active and keeps me
Yeah.
in my brain, and I get to work around a lot of great younger professionals who are coming into this workspace, and just their energy and their passion just keeps fueling me wanting to come back into the work and do the work and support their work. And I like that I have that years of experience. I think that experience matter. And I look at that. I'd rather be aging so than not. So I'm okay
Oh,
with
yeah. It'll keep you
it.
young if you stay busy. I'll tell you, my to-do
Yeah,
list is always about 25 items long and it never changes. The items just change, but that does
yeah,
keep you moving, right?
that does.
Well, I want to thank you for your leadership, Kimberly, not only in these really wonderful sessions that are going to be very impactful, but also in chairing the conference. I've been on conference committees and it's no small job. And thank you on behalf of ILCMA for taking it on. And everyone should thank Kimberly at conference when you go. So again, keep in mind, before Thanksgiving, registration is open. It's February 5th through 7th in Normal at the Marriott, and you all need to be there. So thanks for joining us, Kimberly, and we will see you
Thank
next
you.
time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That was excellent, Kimberly. It was great to hear from you with Melanie being on the ILCMA Local Gov Stories podcast. Melanie, great job as always. I'm a big fan of these interviews, and I got to say, just listening to the talk about the winter conference coming up in February, the 5th through 7th at the Bloomington Normal Marriott. I'm excited for a bunch of reasons, and one of the things Kimberly touched on is a session in the collaboration about sharing ideas. And I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, and it's exciting to hear that there's a dedicated session to this because it also happens out of the social settings with the conference too. But the sharing of ideas and just talking to peers about things that they're working on and getting ideas and bringing it back home to your own communities and using those tools and resources that somebody else has figured out to solve problems that you're facing. I could think of a million things just at the last conference, talking to other people about, and then going back home and talking to our administrator and some of our department heads on, well, in Marion, they've got this great program. Marion's a great example of what they're doing for their economic development and revitalizing their downtown area. And I've
Yeah.
referenced that numerous times since the summer conference. And
Mhm.
that's something I picked up at a conference. So great job, Melanie. And it was great to have Kimberly on talking about everything about winter conference.
Yeah, and then also, AI is not going away, right? We're kind of trying to more embrace it. And so there's going to be that session she discussed about using that data through AI to help the organization streamline. So it'd be interesting. And then that movement to hire veterans. I have a friend who owns a corporate recruiting firm, and she's always looking for veterans. They just have a way of working that's very organized due to their service to the country. And so there's another movement to do that. So that's interesting just to think along that line and make sure that the door is open for veterans if they're interested in entering local government.
Well,
So, and
we're just
actually, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to plug the fact that registration will be open soon. Keep an eye
Mhm.
out for your email and the ILCMA website on when winter conference registration begins.
Yeah. And then also, to the sharing of ideas, you and I were talking offline about all the retirements that are happening in at the village of Antioch, and
Yeah,
I
we
know
we
it's happening in other towns. So that's the whole nut to crack, right?
I
Everybody leaving.
I felt like it was just us for a moment. Then there was an article in the newspaper about a different community. I won't name them, but they're going through the same thing we are, where there's a lot of department heads retiring all at the same time. And
Yeah.
it's one thing if you're dealing with retirements here and there. It's exciting for the employee who gets to retire. You have a chance to revitalize a department or whatever. But when they all hit at once, it's very overwhelming to say the least. So that's
Yeah.
been our
Well,
life lately.
you think about it, and it's a real loss of historical knowledge. If someone's been in there for 15, 20 years, like they just, a lot of things live in your head. I always think about if
Institutional
I leave
knowledge,
my
yeah.
company, like who's going to do this? Because it's some of this is just in my head. And so it's all of our jobs as leaders to make sure that we can pass the baton well. So I mean, that's a whole for those that stay, it's almost like you need to pull those things out of these people before they leave.
I've been having lots of conversations with people just about history and trying to gain some of the institutional knowledge that they've
Yeah.
acquired over 20 years. Like, and
Yeah.
real quick examples are accounts payable clerk. She could tell me anything off the top of her head. And in a couple months, we're gonna bid her farewell as she retires, and
Yeah.
it's going to be a big loss losing that knowledge. But as an organization, it really underscores the need to document things and have good systems in place, and cross training is big.
Yep, huge. So yeah, so for those of you out there going through these things, talk to Jim. You can commiserate in February at the
Yeah.
conference. Uh, all right. Well, I guess next we want to hear from your interview with Mercy. So
Well, real
take it
quick,
away.
as we head into the interview, I was just talking to my mayor, Melanie, about the importance of walkability scores in communities and being bicycle friendly, and how it not only attracts residents, but quality of life issues are one of the main factors businesses look for when they relocate to a community. So it
Oh,
even brings more relevance to our conversation with Mercy. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Mercy Davison, town planner for the town of Normal, Illinois. So we are joined today on Local Gov Stories, the ILCMA podcast, with Mercy Davison, the town planner for the town of Normal in central Illinois. Today we're going to be talking about the bicycle-friendly designation that's offered by the League of American Bicyclists. Mercy and Normal went through this process first about 10 years ago, so we're going to hear everything that was involved with Normal going through this process, and why it's important, and why it's important to the communities and for residents. But before we get there, Mercy, welcome to the podcast. We're excited to talk with you today. Wanted to learn a little bit more about you. You have a really neat background. You're a planner for Normal. You've been with the town of Normal since 2000, I believe, right?
That's
Started off
correct.
as a So Mercy started off as an intern and is still with the town 24 years later, which I love to see longevity like that, and especially people that start off as interns and grow with their communities. But I'll let you kind of talk a little bit about your background. You have a law degree and you're a planner.
I do. I have a law degree and started at the town as an intern in the legal department. and worked as one of the attorneys for about 3 years. And then the town planner at the time decided to move on to other things. And so the position opened up. And most of the work I was doing as an attorney really was planning. They asked if I wanted to take that position, and I did. I was really excited about it. It's a really great line of work. I just didn't know it was a job. So I could have just gone to school for that.
Yeah. Well, and you know, we were talking before the interview today a little bit about your background. When you went to law school, you didn't really have working for a municipality in mind, right?
No, I didn't know anybody worked for a local government. I don't know how I thought government worked, but I didn't know anyone who worked for local government. I didn't know how fascinating it is. So I actually have spent quite a bit of time in the last 24 years talking to high school and college students about how amazing it is to work in public service, especially at the local level, because you see your work come to fruition and impact the place you live every day. So it's really a great career.
That's excellent. So you were in law school, you became an intern, and then it's been your career ever since. I
Here
love
we
that.
are. Yep.
So Mercy, among the things that you do for Normal, which is a pretty busy community, you guys have a lot going on, and you know, looking at your background there, you know, that's the uptown area of Normal.
Mhm.
It is beautiful. We have our ILCMA winter conferences there periodically. It's a beautiful community, and I could tell from the planning perspective, you guys have had a lot going on.
Yeah.
But one of the projects you've been working on, and the thing we're going to talk about today, is the League of American Bicyclists offer a bike-friendly designation for communities. Tell me, what is that? What's it entail?
So being a bicycle-friendly community means that you have taken steps to make your community welcoming, fun, safe for bicyclists. And bicyclists of all ages and types. It's not designed for any one kind of person who rides a bicyclist. Sometimes you hear cyclist and you think of the tight Lycra clothing and the fancy road bike. And the reality is most people are just casually riding a bike for fun or to get around, and it's, you know, you're not sporty or, you know, fast. You know, it's all ages, all types of people. So your community needs to be a good place for everybody to ride a bicycle.
So the bike-friendly designation helps communities align with it's like safety standards and just easier to get around on bicycles, right? And then that's what.
Yeah. And you know, the program hits on like 5 major areas. It hits on infrastructure or engineering. It's like the 5 E's. So it's engineering, which is the things you build to make things bicycle friendly. It's education, enforcement, which can come through police and other methods, encouragement, which a lot of your advocacy groups can take care of, and equity. So really trying to make sure that this works for everybody in your community equally. So it's a range, it's all this like menu of points that you can get in the bike friendly community certification. And you really have to hit every one of those areas pretty hard. So it really holds you accountable to a pretty high standard.
So I know it's a pretty extensive application process, and we'll get into that in a second. But first, one of the benefits of being bicycle friendly, I was just talking with our mayor about this recently. You know, communities that have high walkability scores or bicycle friendly, you know, designations like this, or just being able to walk or ride your bike, getting around a community besides having a car is a big deal, and it makes communities more attractive. Have you seen this have an effect on people wanting to locate to Normal because of that?
Yeah, absolutely. We hear it from employers, we hear it from visitors, people coming here for the university, faculty, staff, students, people moving here for Rivian. There are just a lot of people in the world now who rank walkability and bikeability as a high indicator of good quality of life. Like it really is something that it says a lot. So if you're bicycle friendly, that means you are absolutely pretty walkable. You know, so you do one, you're doing the other, which is really a nice, it's a double.
Yeah. But it's something great to brag about with your community. One more asset to have. So to get the bike friendly designation, like I mentioned, it's a pretty lengthy application process, and the next round of applications aren't due until June, right? The end of June. So
Correct.
there's time. Tell me about, you know, I know there's a lot of getting stakeholders together and wrangling cats and, you know, getting, you know, coordinating is a big part of putting the application together. Tell me about the process that you went through.
Yeah, it is all of those things. And in a nice turn of events, the League of American Bicyclists has made the application accessible by multiple people at the same time, which is great because the reality is no one person can complete this application. No one person has all the information that is required. So you're going to need to be able to talk to people in your engineering department, people with mapping skills so that they can give you the number of lane miles of roads, lane miles of bike lanes, of sharrows, of other, of trail, that sort of thing. You need to provide a map or two. You're going to need to talk to police to get crash statistics of different kinds, and any sort of enforcement work they're doing. You need to talk to community stakeholders, especially the advocacy groups. Like you need to hear from any advocacy group that you have, so you have to reach out to them. It's great. I mean, it's great because it puts you in touch with a lot of people that are rowing in the same direction. So it's kind of reinforces what you're doing, and you're just pulling it all together into one document.
Well, and what's great is the application process kind of, by nature of it, it increases your engagement with the community and the cyclist community. It also helps you realize like, oh, we could do this or we could do that to be more bicycle friendly, and start the education process or start some of the improvement processes to get the bike friendly designation.
Absolutely.
So you put everything together into a document, submit it. And like I said, the next round is due on June 25th. What happens after you submit your application?
It takes a few months and it's different every time. You only do it every 4 years. Or at least it expires every 4 years. If you think you've actually done something really outstanding that would raise your level of certification, you can choose to apply before the 4 years is up. But then the league reviews your application. They actually send out a survey to local advocacy groups. You have to give them contact information because they want to hear from local people to make sure that this application is reflecting what's actually going on. So that's kind of cool. And then when you get your results back, they also give you like a report card with recommended strategies for things that would help you raise your level, because it's basically a tiered system. You can get like an honorable mention. I think it's like bronze, silver, gold, platinum. So they want you to know how you can advance.
Excellent. And one of the things too I've noticed on the website, in addition to communities getting designations, if you have a university like you guys do, if you have a university in your community, universities could get the designation. And also there's businesses that could get the designation too. And I assume this helps out with the overall scoring for communities, right?
It definitely does. I mean, the idea is that this is a certification that should tell people riding a bicycle how bicycle friendly the whole community is. So if you have businesses and a university who are also designated bike friendly, the cumulative effect is friendlier, bicycle friendlier, which is good.
Excellent. Well, Mercy Davison, the town planner for the town of Normal, with us today on ILCMA Local Gov Stories. Mercy, this is great stuff. Some of us on our communications committee with ILCMA, we're talking about different initiatives that communities are doing around the state that we wanted to highlight. And this is a great opportunity, I think, for communities to not only engage better with their residents, but offer something that residents are looking for. Like we said, walkability and being bicycle friendly. So this is great.
Yeah, agreed.
So for more information, it's bikeleague.org is the League of American Bicyclists website. So all the application information is available on their website. And Mercy, did you have anything else before we wrap up here that I didn't bring up that we should mention?
I guess just a couple things. If anyone's interested in seeing our application, I'd be happy to share it. And like our report card that we got. And also, I will just say, like, this is not going anywhere. The world is going to need to be more bicycle and pedestrian friendly moving forward. It's an urgent issue. It's a hopeful issue. It's fun. It makes your community better. It's just, what's not to like about it?
It's great, and it's great for all communities, whether you're urban, suburban, rural.
Absolutely.
As I was looking over communities in the state that have this designation, it's all types of communities, so everybody is eligible.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, Mercy, thank you for joining us on the podcast today. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely, thank you.
Well, thank you, Mercy Davison, again, the planner for the town of Normal, joining us on this week's ILCMA Local Gov Stories. Melanie, before we go any further, I keep looking at the background of your Zoom shot there. You have got quite the awesome, I love the typewriter. That is very cool.
Yeah, it's an antique. I actually, funny enough, last conference in Galena, I came a few days early because I love Galena and stayed there with a friend before a conference began. And went to this antique shop and I snagged that. It's a Royal typewriter, old school. It comes in a case that I think could probably survive a nuclear attack.
Ah,
It's like a tank. An armor, a shield of armor around it. And then this is my studio. I have a studio in my home. So I have some, things from the past, things that have happened, good things. And then of course, like let's see, it's to my left, but looks like the right. That's not anything I'm drinking. It's actually an engraved bottle that one of my girlfriends gave to me to congratulate me for something I accomplished. So it's staying right
very
there.
nice.
You'll always see it full. There will be nothing missing from it because I don't drink bourbon and no one's getting that bottle because it's special to me.
Well, I do. So maybe our next video we'll have to shoot together in your studio.
Yeah. So yeah, but all right. So we had a great couple of interviews, Kimberly Richardson, Mercy from Normal, and that reminder, ilcma.org/conferences. Registration is opening soon. Winter conference is February 5th through 7th in Normal at the Marriott. So any parting thoughts, Jim?
I can't encourage people enough if you've never been to an ILCMA conference, especially the winter conference. It's perfect time of year to get out as we're finalizing budget season or getting close to it. It's a good way to get out and kind of, first of all, clear your mind and hang out with other professionals from around the state. And whether you're, a brand newbie right out of school or, you're a seasoned veteran of municipal government, conference is a great place to be and a great place to network with people. You network with every level of government employee there, and I don't know, it's a lot of fun and it's a great learning experience. You walk away with knowledge and expertise from people from all over the state.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's good to get a reset, like just kind of get away from work for few days,
Yeah.
see people you haven't seen in a while. So that's it. Time to register soon, everybody. So we will see you for the next ILCMA Local Gov Stories podcast. Bye.